Let's go to one from Low Blow on our board. He says, should Michigan run the table for the Natty? What are the chances that they lose both coordinators? Sherrone Moore as a head coach to other Power 5, Jesse Minter to the NFL, etc.
Sherrone Moore could have gone last year to a team, frankly, and he can be choosy. So I think it's only a matter of time with him. And I think someday down the road, as much as I think he really likes this place, loves this place, he could be a candidate to be a Michigan head coach. So if he goes out there and picks the right spot, and some of the guys in the past have done it wrong. Brian English started his career at Eastern Michigan, and was basically destined to fail. Sherrone Moore is one of the best young coaches in the game, and just a downright outstanding human being and coach. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. And then with Jesse Minter, it's clear that NFL teams have noticed him, kind of like Mike McDonald. So, but you know what? That's part of the deal. And if he were to move on, and I think it certainly is possible, you know what? You hope that he's talked enough to guys like Chris Partridge and Clinkscale and Mike Elston that you've got your next hire in staff because you don't want to go out and change defenses. You know the terminology. I cannot stress enough how consistency is key, guys, to success at this level. And if you're changing coaches and changing philosophies and things like that year after year after year, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And we've seen that. So, I think it's possible.
Yeah, I agree. Or you just go get a guy from the Ravens on the defensive side, another one.
Right.
You kind of shoot your shot there. Sherrone Moore, definitely opportunities are going to be there. You would think every offseason from here on out, as long as Michigan continues to have this success. And him kind of being a little bit picky there is, in my opinion, the smart move. I agree with you, Chris. And it reminds me a little bit of Brent Venables when he was at Clemson. Everyone's like, what the heck is this guy's deal? Why doesn't he want to go and jump at this offer or that offer? But it's because he had such a great situation there. And then he finally goes back to Oklahoma, where he coached for a decade and a half previously. And, we'll see what he does now that they moved to the SEC. It, didn't have the best start, but, I think Lincoln Riley kind of, really brought basically all the talent with him there to USC. But I think it's going to be a similar situation there where he can get a pretty darn good job, even if that means he has to wait 2-3 more years. Probably could have been a Power 5 head coach this past offseason. So I think that's a definite possibility for Sherrone Moore. And then you got to mention, too, I think Jesse Minter could be a head coach at some point as well. And he probably can be picky, too. He's going to have that NFL interest as well, though, teams calling him like the Eagles did this offseason. So I think it's a possibility. I wouldn't bet on him losing both, but individually, decent odds of those guys receiving interest and going through the process. And then you kind of never know from there.
Seems Jesse would be more of I want to be an NFL DC or head coach kind of guy than a college guy. And I think we've kind of seen that, same thing with Mike McDonald. We knew that was a 1-year rental or 2-year rental, right, before he was going to go back. So, and Minter seems like he's cut from the same cloth there. So, but both great young coaches.
Yeah. I believe Minter did have some college interest too. I think Cincinnati at least made a phone call after Luke Fickell left for Wisconsin. So yeah, I mean, part of it too is that when you win, teams are going to want to pick from that tree. They want they want a little bit of that winning Michigan flavor to build their programs out. And, Brent Venables was a good example of that. Like Clayton brought up, Kirby Smart was, Nick Saban's DC for a long time. And just, it was another thing where, why won't this guy take a job? And suddenly Georgia opens and now they are what they are. So we'll see what happens with that. It's just, I think something that Harbaugh's done a really nice job of, in the last few years is you kind of build a line of succession there where, you're sitting there and eventually Sherrone Moore is going to be a head coach. Well, guess what? I bet you they just slide Grant Newsome over to the offensive line coach or, things like that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen because maybe he gets an opportunity to go somewhere and be a coordinator or something like that. It's just, they've given themselves options there and, kind of helps cushion that blow when you do lose some of those guys.